Democrats hoping to turn the page for 2028 could be haunted by ghosts of candidates past. Kamala Harris hinting at another presidential run.
You say in your book, I'm not done.
That is correct. I am not done. There are many ways to serve. I've not decided yet what I will do in the future.
When you look at the bookies odds, they put you as an outsider, even behind Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, is that underestimating you?
I think there are all kinds of polls that will tell you a variety of things. I've never listened to polls.
Gavin Newsom also chiming in. The California governor says he's interested in running for the top job, but he's going to wait until after the midterms to decide. And on a podcast, Newsom cursing like a sailor and facing criticism for how he described growing up in a single-parent household with a mom who worked multiple jobs.
It was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and organizing a response to what's happening in this country and organizing people to feel empowered, to give them a voice, to give us choice, and to be able to push back against this son of These guys aren't around. I know. They're not around. And so we have to get our together.
Newsom and Kamala better be ready for Eric Swalwell's what's his name? Who cares? 2028 litmus test. He says every Democratic candidate needs to pledge to wreck Trump's ballroom on day one, which would be preposterous. Jesse, let me go to you first. Gavin versus Kamala 2028. Are you feeling it?
I love it. I like how she's like, I'm not done. She's not done losing. She is trying to be seductive and like tantalize us, like, I might run. No one cares. No one is on the edge of their seats waiting to find out if Kamala's going to run again. And Gavin's like, cowabunga. He's like, I'm in. I've always been in. And you know what? J.D. Vance is not poor. I'm poor. I'm the Beverly Hillbilly. It's going to be funny to hear Gavin Newsom say that he had no white privilege to Kamala's face in the debate. And that debate's going to be a problem for her because here's her issue. She can't attack Newsom's record in California because she was in California the whole time. She was senator. She was attorney general. She was in the White House when California was collapsing. So anything she says about Gavin's record in California, it's on her too. Now, his problem is the DEI landmine, gender, race, class. He's going to be stepping in it, and it's just going to be blowing up in his face. Swalwell's stupid. Do you imagine Eisenhower saying, on day one, I will tear down the Truman balcony? I can see this being a question, like an MSNBC debate.
Right.
What will you do to the ball? Will you wreck the ballroom on day one? If I'm Kamala, I say no. We're tearing down the wall. We're keeping the ballroom because Democrats can party. And Rachel, you're invited. We're going to have Beyonce. Just like she told everybody Beyonce was coming to the DNC just to get everybody to show up.
Yeah, I do remember that. The thing about Gavin Newsom, Greg, is that in a way, he is a lot like Kamala, that he can be anybody depending on which podcast he goes on.
Well, you know what? It's another thing, a problem I have with our producers. They left out the best part of the whole podcast. The part where he talks about being a small-time boxer from working-class Philadelphia, and he's arbitrarily chosen to fight this heavyweight champ, Apollo Creed. That's how he met his wife, Adrian. But he loses, and then he gets a rematch, and it sets him up for a fight with this very, very intimidating challenger, Clubber Lang. Who does he go back for help? Apollo Creed. It's an amazing story. Again, why shouldn't he say all that? He assumes that nobody checks. Nobody goes on Google and finds out you can be a rich latchkey kid. Your dad worked for Getty Oil. You lived in Marin County.
Wow.
Didn't he start a liquor store, a wine store, and a winery at age 25? These are things that, like, basically, I really didn't do. I had somebody else Google it because I have to keep my fingers, fresh. But anyway, he assumes he can create this humble upbringing because, nobody knows how to use nobody knows how to use the internet. Kamala thinks she can hop right back in because nobody knows how to use the internet and see her embarrassing word ambrosia salad. Swalwell assumes no one knows he banged a Chinese spy and that he farts not on command. He reminds me of the guy when you take like a tour guide thing on vacation. He's the guy who wants to be in charge, and it's like, just shut up. Leave us alone.
He's asking all the questions.
He's asking all the questions. It seems like the Democrats are banking on ignorance and laziness for their success. If people don't check, they're good. So it's time for an analogy.
Oh,
I haven't done one in a while. The Democratic Party reminds me of the tobacco industry up until the 1960s. The doctors could be paid to say whatever they want. You know what? Smoking can help clear your lungs. Did you know that? They would say that. But then the research broke free. The link between tar and cancer was definitive, and suddenly the tobacco industry had to put warnings on their product. This will kill you. I think the Democrat now has a working warning that says, warning, this is the party that lied to you about a competent president. They lied about some other things, but that's the big one they haven't answered to. If you believe in anything they say, you're going to look really stupid.
I'm going to save Harold for last and go to Katie next. One of the things for Kamala Harris on this book tour is that as soon as she says, no, I'm not running for 2028, no one's going to book her again.
Right.
All the speaking gigs dry up, all the opportunities to be on boards, they dry up. So she has to keep up the charade.
What else is she
Charade.
gonna do, right? I mean, if she decides to run in 2028, it keeps Democrats in this place where they're trying to move forward with new candidates and leave the Biden years and the reputation of lying about what happened in the White House behind. They can't do that as she continues on this book tour, talking about herself, talking how she's keeping the door open. But it just highlights this idea that in politics, shame is lacking in so many areas. I mean, there's no embarrassment here about acknowledging that she lost every single swing state, lost the popular vote to the most evil president that America's ever had, and yet she is fine with going out and shamelessly saying she's willing to run again. On what record? On a record of never getting a vote in the first primary, of being installed as a nominee and losing. And when it comes to what they're doing for the primary moving forward with Gavin Newsom, it's going to get very ugly because they're going to actually have to have one this time. They're not going to be able to sue and keep all these other people off the ballots. They're going to have to go through this dirty laundry, and they're going to have to because it's an exercise. But that's just the way it's going to be for them. It's going to be awful. One thing about the ballroom, Democrats' reputation over the past 10, 15 years has been tearing things down. Here you have a president who's wanting to build a ballroom he offered to build for Barack Obama to celebrate America in order to host foreign dignitaries in the capital of the United States of America, the capital of the world. And Democrats, if they were smart, would say, of course, we're not going to tear down the ballroom. We're going to host parties celebrating America in the ballroom that the president is giving us. And we should be glad about that. They keep tearing things down instead of running on a platform of building things up. And that's only going to force people who have been pushed away from the party even further to the Republican column.
Harold Ford Jr., should you become president of the United States, will you host a ball and invite us all?
First off, you all have been very kind to me the last several days. Thank you. I'd say a couple things about this. And everyone's made the point about Kamala Harris. We have to remember, Democrats should remember, no Democrat running for president in the last 2 decades or so has lost the popular vote. She did. She will have to run a very different campaign if she runs again, and she has every right to entertain the idea and talk about it. I think you as usual, Dana said it right, DP said it right. She has to talk about these things in certain ways, same way that I think President Trump can't try to endorse or anoint anyone to come behind him because it invariably decreases your power. 2, I would say to Gavin Newsom, to Kamala Harris, to other Democrats thinking about running, talk about the issues again. Here we are at a time in which Amazon, one of the most important companies in the world, has announced it's going to lay off 30,000 corporate jobs or cut corporate jobs at the company. It's already said it thinks it's going to need 150 to 175,000 fewer humans working in their fulfillment centers because of AI and robotics. Why not figure out ways as you travel the country, ways in which to come up with solutions and answers, people who are being innovative and creative about how we address and how we accommodate and how we deal with what's going to happen in the next year to 5 years. It used to be 5 years, but we're 12 to 24 months out from some of these dramatic things happening in the workforce. These are the ideas and the answers that I think voters want to hear, whether it be crime or health care, cost of living. We have a mayor's race here in New York, which I think we'll get to a little bit later, where affordability is what they're talking about. But the answers, a lot of Democrats don't like the answers that Mr. Madami's giving. Come up with those. The idea of a litmus test about a ballroom is one of the more asinine things that I've heard, not just because of what Katie and others have said about building up or tearing down. That won't be an issue on an everyday voter's mind who has to pay more for health care. That won't be on anyone's mind who's concerned about geopolitics, foreign policy, for that matter, the everyday inflation that they're facing in their lives. The issues are right before us. But if you keep swinging at every fastball outside of the range, outside of the pitching range, we're going to continue to be in the minority. And that is disappointing.
But can I ask you again, like, if you become president, will you and Emily invite us to the ball?
Thank you again for the kind words the last few days I had.
I'm going to take that as a yes.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.